So what I was saying was that if we realize that God is a limitless being and that we've created this holographic reality through our subconscious mind, we realize that nothing is real, that means that money isn't real, and there are no limitations on how much money you can make. The only limitation is the limit that you believe that you can make. You are the only limit, is what I'm saying. So essentially, if
Okay.
yeah, so essentially, if money isn't real, the only reason why, like, some people may have $100 million, right, or $100 billion. I don't know how much the richest person in the United States has, but someone has that amount of money, and someone also is in poverty. We have these limitations set in place so that we can feel successful by reaching certain financial goals, because it is giving us a sense of success, and it's also giving us a sense of accomplishment. And so I think that's pretty much the only reason why there are limits set in place anyway, because if there were no limits on time, we would just be anywhere. We wouldn't have a stable environment, and that might be difficult for our nervous system, you know. And so whatever nervous system actually is, because if nothing is real, then, you know, your body's not real either, and that's healable with your mind as well. So basically, it depends on what type of frequency you're on to be able to project the reality that you'd like to have.
Well, answer me this question.
Yes.
When you say reality is real, when you say reality is real,
Reality is not real.
That means that you have to. It's not. What about God?
Yeah, God is real. God is everything. God is your imagination. God is the spiritual being inside of you, whatever, or the universe, whatever people like to refer to God as. You know, those are their own belief systems.
So that's real.
Yeah, that's the only thing that's real.
That's real.
Yeah, is your imagination.
Okay. Okay. So that makes the other thing, such as money and everything else, real.
Through the experience, it becomes.
Yes, sir.
I mean, it's you can do things with money, and you can be on the frequency of having money. You can be on the frequency of not having money, but nothing that you see, it all is a projection of your subconscious mind and where your belief system lies.
That's true.
Right. So.
And what's your belief system?
Well, it really just depends on, you know, what you're meaning by that, because I have a lot of beliefs, and some of them I'm actually breaking. So so it's changing. You know, I'm changing. Everyone's ever changing. The only constant is change. You know, so my belief system in reference to this subject is that everything is a holographic projection of your thoughts, beliefs, and feelings. And the thoughts you have is the effect. So, you know, the law of cause and effect, the thoughts you have is what's going to cause the effect of your trajectory of the projection of your life. You know what I mean? That you perceive, the things you perceive is going to cause those things. So everything is a mirror of your thoughts. So if you think something bad is going to happen, something bad is going to happen. If you think someone is going to say no, someone's going to say no. But conversely, with I think it might be the law of rhythm, where it's like, you know, the yin and the yang, the good and the bad. Conversely, right, there's also a way that you can think that good things will happen and good things will happen. And, you know, someone will say yes and they'll say yes. But whatever you expect.
That's just bringing belief into reality, though, right?
Yeah, your beliefs create your reality.
Okay.
So if you want to change your reality, you have to change your beliefs surrounding your reality.
Okay.
So if your belief is that someone is unworthy of love, then that will be the reality that someone faces. You know what I mean? If someone, I know a lot of people online like to think about a specific person, and maybe the specific person has rejected them, right? But
Right.
that is really just because they've expected that person to, because they didn't think of themselves as worthy to have that person. So that all boils down to your beliefs.
Okay.
And then that car outside, that was confirmation. So your subconscious mind is actually always talking to you as well. So if you feel that a notion that you're having is right or wrong, you can look to your external environment to justify or to, give you some type of confirmation that that is true or that's factual.
Doesn't it have to be material for it to be true?
No. Again, see, your imagination is your third eye is what's creating your imagination, and you can't see from the top of your forehead, but that is how it's projected out into the world, right? So if your thoughts and your emotions are in line with what you'd like to happen, then you don't have to worry about seeing it materialize in front of you. You just have to hold steady and hold true to what you ultimately believe, the state of your imagination, and it'll come into your reality, because the universe or God or whatever it is has to test you to look to see if you're the one who should have those things, you know what I mean, or should be that person.
Listen, that's the problem I have when you say whether it's God or whatever it is.
I mean, well, my belief system is that I'm the God of my reality. All the good and the bad things that have happened to me are because of my thought processes and my consciousness and my awareness. All the good and the bad. So I can either choose for good things to happen to me and live in the state of love, or I can choose the bad things will happen to me and live in the state of fear. But if you're living in the state of fear, then you're in a lower vibrational state. Whereas if you're living in a state of love, you're in a higher vibrational state, because if you have the faith that everything is going to work out for you, or that you know that you're going to reach your goal. And I talk about it all the time about controlling the will. So that's basically like taming the beast of your mind, or I wouldn't even call it a beast, because taming the animal of your mind. So you know how like you have to train a dog to where it's like, hey, no, don't pee on the carpet. It's like you still have to train that dog to remember not to pee on the carpet until the dog gets it, and then you'll see the results of him not peeing on the carpet, or her, the dog not peeing on the carpet.
You keep saying that God's beliefs and yours are the same and all of this and carrying on. Sometimes you seem to put God in relationship to normalcy, and it's not to me. Because to my best knowledge and understanding is the only God that I believe in is one. Everything after him became two. And from that, then whatever you want to believe in, then you can believe whether it's right or you believe it's wrong.
Mm-hmm.
But coming from the straight out of God, there's only one.
That's true. There's a law of oneness, right?
How do we split that?
I'm not sure that you can split it. But there are many versions of people. There are many different realities, right? And they're all happening right now. There is no time. I mean, there's no past or future. It's only present. So if we can believe that that's true, that means it's all happening simultaneously at one time. So you can essentially think of it as if you're hoping for a manifestation, that means that you have it right now. Or if you're hoping to manifest something or hoping to do something or be something, because I know that there are times, everybody has tests throughout your day throughout the day of your life. How you react to things is how you will give off the vibration or the frequency that you're on. So if you're stable in that frequency, then you're able to not react to things that aren't on that same frequency as you.
Okay.
Does that make sense? So essentially, with the law of oneness, that means that all of our minds are connected. So if you think that someone else will have will say no to your request, or if you think that there will be a long line to get in the post office, or if you think that there will be a lot of people in the gym, then there will be. But if you think that the opposite of that, then that will be the outcome that you'll be able to have.
How do you get from oneness to a whole bunch of different other attitudes?
Because
if you've only got one attitude that you start with, how do you create the other attitudes that may be disrespectful or not in sync?
So basically, that's where we go back to the love or fear. So there are both of those. There are many different variations of realities at one time. There are many different, if everyone is you pushed out, right? If everyone and everything is you, that means that the thought that you think is the thought that they'll think. And so that means that you'll be able to achieve or not achieve that outcome based off of your own thoughts. So if you think that this person won't do something, then they won't do it. But if you think that they will, then they will adhere to your request.
Who says that's right or wrong?
I guess it really just depends on your belief system.
But how did you get the belief system if you only believe in the one?
So this is something I talked about just a little bit ago. It was about there's addition, subtraction, multiplication, and division. Those are the basics of math, where you can learn, algebra. You can learn calculus based off of those same formulas, so those same bases of math. So the basis of manifestation, or the basis of controlling your life or controlling the holographic projection of your own mind, is by, remembering that those things are things you already have. So if you believe, or the way, like I was just saying about manifestation is basically you training your mind to believe that something has already happened. So that's where all of the manifestation techniques and those things come in, the writing it down and all of those other things. Basically, it's just you trying to condition your mind to remember that was already the outcome of what you wanted, to remember that you've already attained that goal, to remember that you're already successful.
But doesn't that mean that the goal that you were maintaining and reestablishing in your mind is the beginning, which is God?
Yeah, so God is everything.
So what you're saying is that you are playing on a belief system of basically not going where you're supposed to be going.
I'm not exactly sure what you mean by that.
Because I guess what I'm saying, if I know that there's a tree outside in my yard and I'm looking at it right now, and I know where the root of the tree started and it branches out. Now, do I have to believe in the branching out of the tree, or do I believe in the root of the tree? And if I believe in the root of the tree, then there's something wrong if it makes me want to go to the outer parts of the tree.
That's not true. It's not anything wrong. It's just the experience that you're choosing to have. So essentially, if
who gives me the right to have that feeling that I have to believe that way?
You can give yourself the permission slip, or you can just live however you want to and have, whatever happened to you and live unconsciously. But if you'd like to co-create your reality and your experiences in this universe or this holographic projection that you've created, then you can change your thoughts, which will change your feelings. So if you change your thoughts, that'll change your feelings. So your actions will be different. So your reactions will be different to things. So if someone comes up and says, if you have on a blue shirt and someone comes up to you and says, "Hey, I hate red shirts," you're going to be like, okay, whatever. You know, you're not going to react to it as if it's like, oh, I hate blue shirts. It's like, you hate blue shirts? I have a blue shirt on. You know what I mean? So if you don't believe it to be true for you, and if your belief systems change or your beliefs change around certain things, then the reaction you have will line up to what your current beliefs are. So you change your beliefs based off of your thoughts and based off of more knowledge.
Well, who gave you the ability to make that decision?
That's a fact. That's true. It's all coming from the higher planes, because I don't think that we'd have these thoughts if they weren't supposed to be the thoughts that we would have.
Trying to get you to the higher plane. The higher plane is that it's never changed.
That's fair.
The things within our minds have changed.
That's fair.
But the true fact of the matter that the higher plane has never changed.
That's true. I agree with you there.
Okay.
So, but if there's
closer.
Right, but if there are certain things in your experience that you would like to change, or if you'd like to have a different experience or a new experience, then those ideas of changing that experience will be put into your thought process so that you can, change them as quickly or slowly as is comfortable with you.
Who made you want to have a new experience?
Yeah, that's what I'm saying. So basically, it's basically your higher consciousness. This is my belief system. It's basically your higher consciousness, God, if you will, putting those thoughts in your mind so that you can change and transform into a new form of yourself, so that you can experience that.
Why would God do that?
For growth.
To put a natural thing of order of things. Why would he want you to change that thing in your consciousness?
God wants you to experience other things. So
why?
Perceivably,
if that's the most important thing of one-to-one, why should there be something that he wants you to change, something that's going to change the order of things?
For me, my belief system says that if it's something that you would like to change, then you can focus, your mind on changing it to be how you would like for it to be. Essentially, people on Earth, are struggling or suffering, or don't have money, or there's something in their life that they'd like to change, and so this is giving you free will to be able to change it or to be able to create a new experience.
Oh, see, now you blew it into what it is. You're talking about free will.
You're
talking about free will versus reality of what it is. Because free will gives you the opportunity to choose and be and want what you want.
Exactly.
But God didn't give you free will. God gave you that this is what it is. Now, in the free willness that you're talking about is where you question what that is.
Exactly. Yeah, so that's where the limiting beliefs come in. So if there are no limiting beliefs, and if there's no doubt or no fear, then that allows things to play out exactly how you would want them to, so that you can have a perceivably pleasurable experience if you want to give that to yourself, if you want to allow yourself to experience that.
Free will versus reality versus what you see. If I'm looking at my tree out here now, I can perceive that there are branches on the tree that are going this way and that way. And I can choose to go this way or that way, or I could go down to the root and understand that that's just the way it is. We've got so many things that are happening in this world right now. We haven't mentioned anything about Russia versus the United States versus Japan versus this versus that. There's a whole bunch of different things that are going on, but how did they get that way when they all started in one place?
That's a good question, Uncle Rowan. I haven't thought that far. But what I would also like to say is that you can't rely on what you see to be the truth. So just because you see that tree doesn't mean that tree is going to stop growing. So basically for me, I like to think of it as my subconscious mind creating the projection of my reality, right? So if there are things that that I don't like or that I want to change, then I can change them by changing myself. You can't change other things outside of yourself. You can only change what's inside of you. And so if everybody is you pushed out, that means you can also change other people. You can change your environment. You can change your health, your mental state. You can change all of those things. And that's what I think that we have free will for, to be able to make the decision to live in fear or to live in love.
How do you do it?
How
do you do it?
For me, I like to use the manifestation method of creating a vision, because that helps for me to be able to kind of anchor myself onto that new experience that I'd like to experience, as opposed to looking to my 3D for validation. So if I know that God is real and I have faith that God will make a way in any circumstance that I'm facing, then I'm going to choose to live in love, and that things are going to work out the way that I anticipate them to, for my greatest joy and happiness, as opposed to, something that is not working out that way. So essentially, if we know that there's a goal, right, and we're trying to get to that goal, but nothing is real and it's already here, and God is everything and it's already here, then we know that that just focusing on that goal will bring it to our reality, because it's basically a construct of our subconscious mind that's creating the senses that we can see, feel, touch, those things. You know what I mean?
You know something? All you're doing is using a lot of words for us to say the same thing.
I think we are saying the same thing, but
you're going back to reality. The reality is, do you believe that there is one God? And if you can believe truly in your heart that there is one God, then things that happen for a reason, because he's showing you something. But it's not because you believe in something, it's because he's showing you something. And if you allow him to show you, then he can show you the right way.
Right.
And the right way is his way.
Right. So that's the way of love, because God is love, right? God isn't fear. So if fear is something that's also made up, then that means that all doubts that come into your mind when you're trying to get to a certain goal, or when you are, walking on that path, because there are certain things that people face throughout the day that are quote, quote, tests. So if you're hoping to, live in love, then you're going to expect that things will work out that way for you.
Right. You're going to expect it, right?
Uh-huh.
You don't know it. You're expecting it.
I mean, well, you're knowing. That's the way that you know, because you know that the only way, and the way that you anticipate things happening, the way that you've conditioned your thought processes to create, you know what I mean? So if everything is a mirror, that's what God is showing you. It's showing the mirror of what it is that you still need to work on, and the beliefs that are still limiting you.
And why do you think you have to do that?
You don't have to.
That's right, because it's already done. So it shall be, so it is done.
I mean, I understand that, but it seems like sometimes it's going around to get out of the loop, quote, quote. You have to think from a different level, a higher plane, in my mind. I'm still, discovering. Let me put it that way. So it's basically about you discovering yourself, and discovering what limitations have been put on you through your parents, through society, through social media, through all of these programming. So basically, you're programming your unconscious self was programmed into something, and you can either change that or you can stay the same. That's your choice. But if you like to change it, the way that you can consciously create is by realizing that these belief systems that you're holding on to are not in alignment with where you're going and who you'd like to be. Because if you're still seeing things that you do not like in your reality, then that means that there are certain things within yourself that you may need to change. But I've also heard of people saying that you should just ignore the things you don't like and focus on the good things, because gratitude will also put you in a higher vibrational place, so that things will work out automatically because you're already in the feeling of happiness and things can come easier to you.
And all of it comes back to the root of the tree. All of it comes back to the beginning.
What's that?
And that's what I'm trying to relate to you. I understand what you're saying. I understand how you're trying to get where you want to be. Understand where you are, hoping that you can get to some other plane or where you want to be or whatever. If not feeling good now, it is feeling good. But the bottom line is you get to the root of the tree and you understand. Because all the rest of it is word association, could be, maybe, yeah, this is right, this is wrong. That's just consciousness in the human being as a human being. And, you know, maybe he's allowed us too much or too little. But the bottom line is, when you really get down to the reality of everything, it is that there is one and only one. And either you go with the one or you make all excuses for doubts, understanding, wonderment, or what have you. But in the long run, at the end of the day, there still is only one.
Right.
And I'm going to leave you with that.
No, I mean, I think we're saying the same thing, Uncle Roland, but I'm just basically saying how to control it as opposed to just flowing with it. Yeah. I mean, we're controlling and flowing at the same time. So it's basically like, you know, we're seeing the vision that God has put upon us, but the limiting beliefs and things that things that have gotten in the way, and the programs that's gotten in the way, is keeping us from reaching that vision. And so the quicker we can get rid of those limiting beliefs, the quicker we can reach the goal that God has in mind for us.
Exactly. That's just what we want to call it, knowledge, understanding, maybe modern time versus olden time. It's the same thing. Once we believe and we understand what's going on, we can understand when we have problems in life that it's caused by something that wasn't exactly right. Now, how we figure it's not whose fault it is or what it is, it's just that, you know, we maybe have to move a little bit to the left versus to the right. And that's all it is. And once you get that understanding, then
the rest is what?
It seems like it's hard. It seems like it's hard. You know, the relationships and get into trouble, the happiness or whatever. There's such a thing as, you know, you can have too much happiness in your life and you can have too much sorrow in your life. You know? And when you get down to it, as far as that, again, I go to that branch, that one root in the tree. It's all equaled out. And once you got that, then you can deal with anything else. Don't let the boyfriend today and the girlfriend tomorrow and the situation today and the situation tomorrow, that, you know, as long as we can deal with the true realities and meaning of life. And the meaning of life is, believe in your God and everything will work itself out.
That's true. And I think a lot of times it's all about forgiveness, because all of those things that have happened to us in the past, they are not necessarily things that will happen to us in the future. So those are things that we need to forgive within ourselves and realize that, that was when we were living unconsciously, as opposed to now that we don't have to have doubts or fears or anything like that, because we can have anything we want just based off of being stable in our minds. So if you have an idea, this is what I was saying earlier, if you have an idea of what it is that you want, there are certain beliefs and certain things that certain thoughts that are coming to your mind that are going to oppose that. So the more you stay true to the vision that you have, the quicker and easier it is for your journey. You won't have to bump your toes on so many rocks. You'll be able to float to that. Be able to create your holographic experience pretty much exactly how you want it to be. I'm sure there'll still be tests, but they'll be a lot easier because you'll have the understanding and the knowledge that you need to be able to make those things come to fruition for your experience to be the way that you want it to be.
I understand what you're saying, baby. I understand exactly what you're saying. I'm just trying to tell you maybe in a different way, but
I get what you're saying too, but I'm also recording this for YouTube, so I just want to make sure that that it's put into different ways, but it's still the same message.
Okay. All right. That sounds good to me.
Well, thank you guys so much for coming to this call today. Please do like, share, subscribe, and follow for more content. Thank you.